Welcome to EMAC Regional 2021 podcasts. The show is dedicated to present research results of Polish scientists as authors or co-authors of papers presented during the Regional Conference of European Marketing Academy. The regional conferences are aimed to attract researchers interested in marketing issues, in changing and growing markets, and regarding a regional perspective. Project has been supported by the Polish National Agency for Academic Exchange under the program Welcome to Poland. My guest is Dagmara Plata-Alf, co-author of a paper presented at EMAC Regional 2020 under the title Real or Not Doesn't Matter as Long as You Are Hot, exploring the perceived credibility of an Instagram virtual influencer. So, Dagmara, who is virtual influencer?
Nice to see you and nice to hear you, Jolanta. If we are discussing who virtual influencers are, we can say that they are typically animated or CGI-based characters used in marketing as a substitute for human influencers. So, for example, Lil Miguela was created by Brad, an AI company. So we can say that those influencers are the one prepared by the agencies, by the companies which are able to prepare a graphic characters of influencers or CGI-based characters.
Do you think that real influencers really have anything to fear?
A little bit. I can say that, for example, on YouTube, a virtual influencers number is more than 5,000. Also, what is somehow interesting, Hype Auditor took a look at the numbers and found that the virtual influencers have almost 3 times more engagement than real influencers. So when we are discussing a virtual influencer, we can say that the one can portray an image a brand would like at a very low cost. So this is something about which I can think that the real influencers can be afraid of.
Okay, so have there been any scientific studies done on this topic?
In the Web of Science database, so the one gathering journals from the JCR, there are 3 entries focused on the phenomenon of virtual influencers. So not many, we can say. The first one, so computers as social actors. This paper investigated the effects of the number and types of social actors in the contents of Instagram on users' reactions. And in this case, researchers collected the users' comments from the contents of the virtual influencers' accounts on Instagram and conducted the sentiment analysis. So in this case, the results showed that the users tend to use more social words and third-person pronouns in content with multiple social actors, including the virtual influencer, than in content with a virtual influencer as itself. Moreover, it's presented that in the content of social media with humans, users tend to use more positive words and anxious words than in the content without humans. So this is the first one. Another interesting research with an article titled Almost Human, comparative case study on the social media presence of virtual influencers. So this paper investigated virtual agents and their similarity to humans in terms of behavior in human networks and reactions to human versus virtual agents in human networks. So where this interaction is publicly visible. So they analyzed the posting behavior of and reactions to one human one human-like virtual and one anime-like virtual influencer active on a popular social media platform, so on Instagram. And in this case, they were checking the text and emojis that were posted over an 11-month period. And what they have found out that despite the general positive atmosphere of the platform as itself, the human-like virtual influencer received significantly lower positive reactions. So this is providing an evidence for the uncanny valley. And the last one, but also quite interesting because this paper with a title towards an ontology and ethics of virtual influencers provides an initial analysis of some ontological, ethical issues associated with this phenomenon and with the rise of virtual influencers on social media platforms. And we can say that this is just a kind of a beginning of the more sophisticated study. At this moment, they were checking how responsible virtual influencers are, and of course, they have checked also if the personal identity is somehow connected with them. So not more, I can say, if we are not many if we are discussing the database of articles in the area of influencer marketing as itself.
Okay, you and your co-authors have conducted your own research. So could you please elaborate on this topic and starting with what was the purpose of your research?
In our case, the aim of my and my colleagues study, so Jolanta Tkaczyk and Marcin Awdziej was the ones who are also and who are also the authors of this paper. We have the aim was that we wanted to check whether or not the knowledge regarding the fact that the influencer is a virtual character affects their perceived credibility. So a different aspect that the ones discussed a few minutes ago. And when conducting the study, we wanted to find out whether or not the knowledge regarding the virtual influencer differentiates the assessment of their credibility in relation to its three dimensions. So attractiveness, trust towards them, and their expertise.
Thank you very much. And what research method did you use?
Well, we have used an experimental research with the CAVI survey. So we have the research included 246 students of the management faculty, so people studying at the Kozminski University in Poland. The respondents were randomly, according to their students' ID numbers, assigned to one of two experimental groups that analyzed the photo of one of the virtual influencers, Shudu. This photo was downloaded from her Instagram profile, and the group exposed to the photo description, so the information that they are looking at the virtual influencer consisted 122 respondents, while in the group not exposed to the description mentioned by me, there were 124 people. And what we have done, we have asked respondents to fill a short questionnaire about their behavior related with the use of social media at the very beginning. And after that, they were shown the photo with or without the description of virtual influencer. Their next task was to evaluate the photo. So there was a 7-point scale across the dimensions, like, for example, sad, funny, boring, exciting, interesting, uninteresting, ugly, pretty. But also, of course, the assessment of the virtual influencers' perceived the credibility was conducted. So in this case, the scale was characterized by the source of expertise, trustworthiness, and attractiveness.
Okay, and what did you find out?
At the end, we have found out that the photos with descriptions and without, we can say that it simply almost doesn't matter, because when it comes to assessing the source credibility, it is irrelevant whether recipients know if the character they have on the photograph is real or it's virtual. This was quite interesting. And also, what was quite important and what somehow matters, that in the way of presenting the photos of for example, the model's attractiveness, because Shudu is one of the virtual influencers, but also one of the virtual models. So her ability to build both trustworthiness and expertise in the field of modeling, in this case, also we trust in it, and we think that this person can be the one who is an expert in this field.
Okay.
And of course, her virtual origin doesn't matter. So we are not looking at this factor in any way.
So when it comes to assessing the source credibility, it is irrelevant.
Exactly.
Whether recipients know if the character they have to do with is virtual or real. Yeah. Okay. So do you have any proofs that virtual influencer engage as well as a real one?
This is especially when we are checking, some data and some research done by some companies and some tools which are checking the engagement. We can see that according, for example, to Hype Auditor and their research from 2018, there is even a result that virtual influencers have almost 3 times more engagement rate than real influencers. But also in 2019, we have decided to replicate this research, not in the same scale, because we were analyzing only 20 real influencers and 20 virtual ones. But in this case, we have found out that this factor is quite equal. So we can say that maybe a little bit more engagement from virtual influencers than from real ones. But still, the difference is not so significant. So I can say that maybe it depends which tool and by which tool we are checking, of course, the engagement and what kind of results we want to receive. Of course, the company which is selling the tool maybe will have a better notes and grades for virtual influencers as themselves.
So probably it means that you have something interesting to tell your followers. It doesn't matter you are virtual or real influencer. Yeah?
That's right.
Okay, so what opportunities and also threats do you see in using virtual influencers, for example, in marketing campaigns?
Well, for sure, if you are discussing the opportunities, we can say that virtual influencers do not complain yet.
Of course.
They do not need, sleep or special attention. So in this case, we can say that, of course, it's a kind of an opportunity that the cooperation with virtual influencers will be more effective because we can decide how the one will look like, what he or she will be doing in her life, and how and with whom we'll be cooperating with, or even prepare a virtual influencer for a specific brand. So in this case, we can prepare a virtual person as the one we need, as the one we want to, at the specific moment. So I think this is a kind of a great opportunity because simply we can make an influencer which will fit to exact parameters that we need. Of course, in this case, we can discuss somehow the fact that, for example, if we are saying and discussing virtual influencers, they are unrealistic. And their standards, which they are showing to users, to people who are following them, also could somehow enhance, for example, some unhealthy stigmas surrounding beauty and attractiveness, because simply they could be perfect without any marks, for example, on their body, or with a perfect character all the time, because as we have mentioned, they are not real. So in this case, we can program them as we want to. But on the other hand, I think that they are kind of an expression of art. So we can say that in this case, we can of course make something what is completely different, and expose also our users to a piece of art, as I mentioned before. And also in this case, I think that the fact that we can prepare a personality that, for example, will appeal to a certain target audience. This is also a very useful fact, because it will simply align with, for example, our brand values. So in this case, we can have a perfect, great influencer for our company, for our brand.
We live in a very interesting world indeed. Thank you very much for conversation and for being here with me. Thank you once again, Dagmara.
Thank you very much, Jolanta. It was a pleasure.
You are listening to EMAC Regional 2021 podcast, and my guest was Dagmara Plata-Alf, co-author of paper presented at EMAC Regional 2020 under the title Real or Not Doesn't Matter as Long as You Are Hot, exploring the perceived credibility of an Instagram virtual influencer.